Hey guys, Nary here from Drake Wayne Gamers, having to me on Twitter the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. So apparently something crazy is about to happen, and well, you guys have definitely been letting me know in the comments, and oh boy have I got some expectations. So I'm going to be a little bit quieter tonight. I've got people sleeping. I've had a couple complaints because I've been kind of loud. Oh wow, oh my god, I've almost been playing this game for a year now. Holy... Wow, that is nuts, actually. Good lord. Okay. Anyway, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right back into it. Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes of entertaining. Let's jump right in. Alarm saying you're up, and let's go. Okay. He exhales, splaying himself on the bed. Yes, it has. I nod and lie down next to him. We stay like this for a few moments, his eyes closed and mine intent on watching him breathe. I really want to know he's fine, and this didn't cause another shutdown. But it seems he's okay, as his tail begins to pat the bedding beside him slowly. I settle into a more comfortable position. Pretty much certain we would go to sleep at this point, only to have the wolf tucking his muzzle under my chin. I cup his head with one hand while embracing him with the other. He snuggles deep into me, releasing soft whimpers and a smile. And I smile. It's odd for such a strong creature to seek shelter in my frail arms, but I take great pride in it. Rennek needs comfort, and right now, I'm the only one who can provide him that. Might not be the night I have hoped for, but it's still better than anything I could wish for. I gently kiss the top of his head, and simply listen into his slowing and more regular breath. Uh-oh. I wake up extremely fresh and rested, almost as if coming out of a decade-long sleep. Oh! Oh my. That's problematic. But as I open my eyes, I'm met with the both unfamiliar and yet oddly recognizable scenery. It's a room. Not the one in the forest, but an actual room of a modern-day youth. There's some random posters and hobby paraphernalia, figurines, and even a corkboard with different cards and pictures. I immediately spot a PC at the desk, although the display is rather old and boxy. Even the window offers the view of a concrete jungle I thought I would never see again. I struggled to pull the covers from me, but eventually managed to slide my legs off the edge. Groggily, and with a lot of effort, I managed to sit up and give this place another look. What the fuck? I nearly jump up as the doors suddenly crack open and a strange yet familiar woman enters the room. She looks like a typical 50s housewife. Oh, finally, there you are! She rushes towards me with a wide smile, and in a panic I slide off the bed, my legs still very much stiff and unresponsive. Careful! The woman mutters and helps me up to my feet. She acts so friendly and forward that I keep staring at her intently, trying to conjure any memory of her, all to no avail. The doctor said your muscles would take some time to adjust. She continues once she sat me back onto the bed. But none of that matters right now. Everyone will be so relieved. She claps her hands together and takes a joyful whirl in the middle of the room, causing her dress to spiral and unfurl like an umbrella. What? She's acting like a sitcom mom, sickeningly sweet and joyful. Granted, if I were out for a while, it would have been a somewhat natural reaction, but this feels off. I gaze around the room, noticing different wishing cards along with some balloons and garlands. There's even a welcome back Orien sign. What is all this? Do you like it? I was in charge of decorating. She seats herself next to me and pets my face in a motherly fashion. Each day I would sit here beside you, thinking what to say when you finally wake up. But how long was I out? It doesn't matter. She shakes her head, grasping at my hand. What matters is that you're back, here, where you belong. But belong? Again, I make a careful scan of the room. Although it looks vaguely familiar, I do not feel I really belong here. Will you look at that? Will you look at that? She suddenly scoffs and gets up, poking merrily at her wristwatch and making a silly face for emphasis. Your father is running late again. He promised he'll be back in time for dinner, but you know him. She swishes her hand dismissively and approaches the doors. Do I? I don't hide doubt in my tone, and she stops, turning on the heel to give me another goofy expression. Of course you do, Orien. What a silly thing to ask. For some reason, her calling me that makes my stomach churn, but despite grimacing, she doesn't seem to mind. Anyway, I made your favorites, pizza and an apple pie. So, 2 pies? I blink again. I blink, again casting my gaze at my room in confusion. Come, get yourself changed and join me in the kitchen. She waves her hand invitingly and disappears into the adjacent room. I just sit there, stunned, looking at this new place I have found myself in. Where the fuck am I? It takes a while for the reality of it all to sink in. I struggle to grasp all of what's happening, but eventually I gather the strength to move. Despite the window being cracked open and the obvious breeze ruffling the curtains, the air is oddly heavy. My legs, as she indicated, feel rather funny, and I have to pay extra attention with each step. I slowly approach the desk, pushing away a bundle of weighted balloons. There I find my change of clothes folded neatly on the chair. Only now it appeals to me to actually check what I'm wearing. It's a dark blue pajama set with a bunch of full moons and stylized wolves howling at them. I pull up the top ever so slightly as to uncover my abdomen. The scar where I was stabbed was replaced with stitches. Was I operated on? I feel so confused. I look at the desk, trailing an assortment of different wishing cards, picking up a few at random. Get well. We miss you soon. Yours. V. Can't wait to see you again. You're the best. XXX Cora. What? Are those meant to be my friends? There's so many things I need to tell you. I hope you'll get another dance. And hope we'll get another chance. From the looks of it, I have at least a dozen. Each card more elaborate and heartfelt than the other. Was it really all just a dream? It couldn't have. No, it doesn't feel right. My heart begins to race in desperation, and I quickly look to the shelves for my answers. There's a teddy bear with a green plaid bow next to an action figure. I pick up the plastic warrior, carefully inspecting the details. He's uncomfortably reminiscent of Rannoch, almost as if he were his blueprint. There's even a dandelion and a Celtic knot badge stuck into the corkboard. A cold shiver shoots down my spine, and the horror of it all begins to sink in. I've made it all up. All of it. Oh God, this is too cruel. I cover my trembling lips, now flanked by 2 warm streams of tears. I feel numb and hollow, my heavy chest slowing my breath to a near standstill. I've met someone I love and care about, only to have it be my own delusion. Was likely fueled by some fucking game. I cast my hateful gaze towards the stack of different titles and grab a few. Medieval Knight, Werewolf the Full Moon, Dating Simulator. It all makes sense. But as I shuffle the boxes with growing panic, a slither of a memory pierces through the darkness. I open one of my plastic lids and narrow my eyes in confusion. It's a CD. When I think of games, I think of CDs, but I can't remember the last time anyone used one. I blink away the tears, my mouth slightly open in shock as I look to the upper shelves. A globe and some class books. Geography 2, algebra, biology. I chuckle at the realization that those are school textbooks, not college ones, but high school at best. Why would I have those? But above all, on a place of honor, a generic first place trophy overlooks the room. I strain my sore muscles to reach up for it, but eventually I have to put it in my grasp and bring it down for a closer inspection. First place for the excellence in sports. What sports? I'm as athletically inclined as a couch potato. Sorry guys, I'm just kind of exhausted. I had a long day at work. 12 to 8:30. What a day. Oof. My eyes instinctively venture towards a leather glove with a ball nestled inside of it. Is it to say I play baseball? I shake my head in disbelief and put the cup down onto the desk, brushing the chair out of the way. If anything can clear this up, it's definitely the computer. I press the power button, and to my surprise, it starts making the most unexpected sound. A bunch of beeps preceded by mechanical screeching and hissing noises. Is that a dial-up tone? But just as I think it cannot get any more absurd, the screen goes full-on Matrix on me. Lines of green gibberish flood the display from top to bottom. The computer won't be of any help. Orien, hurry up and change, dear. I look towards the door, where the woman posing as my mom calls from. Reluctantly, I reach for the clothes. She prepared but still traced the corkboard for answers. There's a post-it note with no clear date. Friday, Bestie's birthday. Remember to bring a gift. Is that meant to be my handwriting? What sort of a maniac would leave a note like that? Also, if I needed a reminder, I would have set it up on my mobile phone. I know. Oh, I know mobile phones. I nearly exclaim in excitement. I had one, I'm sure. I might not remember owning one, but I'm absolutely certain they were a thing and that the majority of people couldn't get by without one. This shit is ancient. I nearly laugh at the ridiculous desktop I'm presented with. At first glance, it's exactly what I would picture if someone asked me what a computer looks like. But another no longer, well, this CRT monitor. Man, it really is crazy. Yep, this has got to be... Oh, notice that window's cracked open. What was that? Huh. I look towards the two Polaroids pinned in place as I put my pants on. Hello, bestie, I mutter cynically, rubbing my face of any remaining tears and giving a contemptuous look towards the bland youth next to me on a generic beach day photo. Then my eyes wander to my holiday memento. Eiffel Tower. Of course it'd be in France. If you think of a random posh holiday abroad, where else would you be? Well, that or Rome, I suppose. But as I button up the top of my shirt, I can't help but laugh at the metal. I gently pull it away from the board and inspect both sides. First place again. This one for being the best? Of course. But the biggest killer is the acceptance letter. Apparently I got into Harvard. Lucky me. I roll my eyes unenthusiastically. This is some wannabe wish fulfillment. There's even an express train ticket to get to Boston from wherever this is. Which is fuck knows where, because upon closer inspection the ticket is valid from any station. Smooth. But I think I spoke too soon on what's too much in this cabinet of curiosities. Oh, I'm watching that, by the way, on Netflix. It's amazing. Because the actual killer is what I've just put on. I've been so preoccupied with all this bullshit that I didn't even pay attention to what I was changing into. It's a freaking school uniform. None of this makes any goddamn sense. Orien! The mother calls out, this time more impatiently, so I decide to humor this charade. But as I'm about to open the door, I'm stopped by a giant keep out sign. At first it almost feels like a warning, but then I realize that all this stuff is slightly off place. If you think of a teen's room, this sort of sign would be the first thing to come to mind. But if you don't know where it should go, it's a 50-50 chance it'll end up on the wrong side. I carefully cast a last glance over the bedroom and realized there was no medical equipment. Unless I was in an induced coma, at least a drip would have made sense. How else did she feed me? Like a foie gras duck? I chuckle, shaking my head, and open the doors with newfound confidence. I'm not sure where to go, but I follow the sound of the gentle hum made by that strange woman. The air is continuously stifling, and I pull on my collar. There seems to be something in it that I can't put my finger on, but it's there, almost choking me. As I walk through a small hallway, I notice those odd porcelain figurines resembling Wizard of Oz characters littering the place. That's because they are just that. There's a Dorothy and Toto, there's the Tin Man, even the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow. Come to think of it, the mother wears Alice's outfit too. It almost feels like a collage of my random thoughts. I smile, noticing a rotary dial phone standing on one of the shelves. Again, perfect example of what a phone is, but when was the last time I saw one like it? This whole place is trying so hard to sow the breadcrumbs of my memory trail. It's an obvious construct made without any understanding, and this knowledge emboldens me to face whatever comes next. But before I enter the kitchen, I'm stopped by a discreet yet discernible scent reaching my nose. It's barely tangible, but I take a deep inhale. I'm sure it's there. Lavender. I blink my eyes, looking around in confusion. There's a scent of lavender in the air. As I scan the rooms adjacent to the hallway, I see odd bouquets of those purple flowers dotting the place. I'm sure they weren't there before. Huh? I take a puzzled step in the kitchen, causing the other mother to finish her song. She turns on the heel with a big, wide smile, putting down a bowl she was just fiddling with. There you are! Don't you look smart? What's with all the lavender? I point towards another bouquet. Bouquet? I don't know why good lord, I'm so tired I'm saying bouquet. Bouquet. Standing in the middle of the kitchen table. Don't you just love it? She shrugs happily. They're my favorite. The smell is just divine. They weren't there just a moment ago. Oh, another one of your games? How fun. The woman laughs me off and returns to face the counter. I take a reluctant seat, looking at the flowers with doubled suspicion. Why didn't I smell this before? To be honest, I've got so used to them that I forget half the time they're even there. She shrugs, whipping something energetically inside the bowl. I feel so helplessly confused that I simply sit there, listening to her resumed humming. But the scent intensifies, as if it was calling out to me. I reach out to one of the stray stalks, and just as I touch the petals, the entire floret completely disintegrates into thin air, like it was never there. What the... Is everything all right, love? It's hard to breathe, I mutter, getting slowly overwhelmed by the scent. It's as if someone doused the entire place with lavender perfume. My, I might have overdone it a little. She pats her cheek in a troubled expression and immediately proceeds to open the windows. Smell of lavender, huh? Interesting. Here, let me take these. The woman smiles and grabs the vase from the table. I don't know why, but I don't want her to take it away, so I reach out towards her arms. What's the matter, honey? Where are you taking them? Oh, just to another room. I'll be right back. As she disappears behind the doorframe, the sweet floral aroma suddenly vanishes, replaced by a vague scent of fresh air. I look towards the open windows with suspicion, watching as the blinds bob in the wind. The smell might be gone, but the air is just as heavy as it was. When she returns, she pats my head and begins to hum again. For some reason, I get a really troubling vibe from her. I'd much rather be back with... Oh, fuck, what was the Grey Wolf's name? I close my eyes, rubbing my temple and straining to remember. How could I possibly forget it this fast? Damn her obnoxious humming. It almost feels as if it's scrambling my thoughts and makes it harder to recall things. But, Mother! I mutter, drawing her attention to ending her siren's call for just a moment. I've decided that I've had enough of games. Something's not right. I know this isn't right. Everything's fine, Orien. Soon you feel back at home. You'll see. Can't really feel at home with you having buttons for eyes. Very funny, Coraline. She responds to my joke with a soft chuckle, but something about it feels off. Almost as if my very own ghost children were telling me to run. At times like these, I'm glad I've consumed so much as much pop culture as I did. I need to go back, I state sternly, continuously preventing the woman from humming. Go back where? To... I struggle, desperate to speak up his name. To Rannick! I exclaim with satisfaction through a strained huff. I want to go back to Tiernan. At first she looks to me in slight shock, but then she gives me a pitiful smile. Sweetie, I don't know what any of that means. I know you do, and I want you to let me go. Rannick needs me. You're not a prisoner, dear. I'm not keeping you here. She splays her arms in feigned surrender. If Rannick's one of your new friends, then by all means I don't object to you hanging out. Just as long as he's not a bad influence. Is he one of the foreign exchange students? The name sounds awfully funny. He's not an exchange student. He's a wolf. Oh. The woman clicks her lips and looks at me with pity. I can't remember the last time he went to the zoo, but if you want to. Not that kind of wolf. He's a chief's son and an alpha, and we're heading out to Strandbard tomorrow. I reiterate, not much for her sake, but to ensure I haven't forgotten anything in between her hellish humming. Fancy that. She shrugs and waves her hand at me. It was all just a dream, Orien. Soon you'll forget all about it. I don't want to forget about it! I jump up, slamming my hands into the table and yelling out in equal part frustration and desperation. But the woman only shakes her head dismissively, and to my complete surprise she shoves a hastily made sandwich in my face. You're awfully moody today. Must be the hunger. Here, have a PB&J. What? I blink, grabbing the food in utter confusion. I thought we were having pizza. Well, I figured we could wait for Dad a little while longer. After all, he works so very hard to provide for us. Alright, guys, I'm gonna save it right here. Good lord, this is like some WandaVision shit. Oh, this is weird. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!